had we not got Sting, would we have got Kurt Angle? Would we have got other stars?
What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He has won more than a dozen world heavyweight titles and is the director of business development for AEW. My wife only dreams she could hit me in the head with a guitar the way this man has for decades. JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett. How's it going, my man?
Shakiel, my man, I have, your wife started at like $100, and then I've tried to get her to 200 to 500 to 1,000. I'm going to keep going the price up because you've got the fun. So once I get maybe 5 figures, you're getting a guitar shot. So
yeah, we live in Vancouver. I don't know if the funds are there, but I'm glad that, it'd be nice to see you in person, Jeff, even if I have to look at you through the back of a guitar.
All kidding, Shakiel. All kidding aside, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting. And it's been a while, but it's definitely good to see your face over Zoom. How about that?
I wish I got to shaving today. We can't have everything, man. It's so nice to talk to you again. I wish we could do this on a more frequent basis, but I'm glad that these are the circumstances that we're here for today. AEW Revolution is coming up on March 3rd. Sting's retirement at the Greensboro Coliseum. And I've been making an effort to sort of reach out to people integral to Sting's career, and I think you've played a very important role in that regard. So, as you help me sort of break down the history of Sting, I'd like to start here because there are a lot of people who've worked with Sting in WCW, with AEW, but I think you basically worked with Sting in every major promotion the two of you have been in. But there is one sort of gap in my history right now that I'd love for you to fill, and that's his run with TNA. First, can you talk to me about what went into reintroducing Sting to TNA for that 4-match run in 2003?
Oh, Shakiel, I don't know how long we got.
I was told 15 to 20. So,
but no, as long as we're not on TV, we're not having to hit like a 2 or 3 minute deal, because I have to for me to talk about the very short run, which was literally, it was just off his WCW run as his, he was the guy, the poster boy of WCW in a lot of ways from the late 80s until the doors were shut. So there was a lot of emotion that went into it for a lot of folks at WCW when the doors shut. But I think Sting's right at the top of that level, and I'll get to that. But the reason I have to kind of tell the day one story of Sting and the Jarretts, because it really tied into how we got Sting to kind of put his foot back in the wrestling water. So I take it all the way back to the mid 80s. There were 4 guys that were all bodybuilders out in Southern California. We'll call them Hulkamaniacs. They sent a photo to my father, just kind of some bodybuilding photos. Not really, they had wrestling tights and boots, but very, very very green, as we would call it. And out of those 4 that they sent it, my father, Jerry, he pointed at Steve Borden and Jim Hellwig, and the 2 of the 4 guys that he got them on the phone and said, "Hey, who am I speaking with?" And I think it was Jim Hellwig. And he said, "Well, is the other gentleman around it?" "Yeah, Steve's here." So anyway, they drove cross country.
The Ultimate Warrior and Sting for some of the fans even younger than myself.
Oh, I should. Yeah, say I'm bad.
That's okay.
Bad interviewees. But yes, I was trying to pick up that Sting and Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig and Steve Borden, drove cross country and arrived at my house on Thanksgiving Day. I'll never forget SHAK literally looking down. I was on the 2nd floor, but looking down as them walking up the sidewalk. 2 of the biggest. I'm a junior in high school, skinny little basketball player, but they were 2 of the biggest guys that I'd ever laid eyes on. And I was just like, holy, it was, and I'd already had the bug. I'd already been refereeing a little bit, hanging around the business growing up. But when I saw them, I'm like, oh, that incredible. So that is where the relationship started. My dad gave Sting and Jim really their first break, first territory. They worked in the territory a while. And then, in record time, Hellwig went to Dallas and Sting went to Watts in Louisiana, and kind of the rest is history. And when they broke onto the national scene in WCW and WWF. But fast forward to 2002, startup company TNA. We went into financial issues literally 6 weeks into the promotion. So it was like any startup. It was at every corner that we turned, it was difficult. And we were at a point that, hey, wonder if Sting would want to come. Just at those times, we were kind of the celebrity wrestler of the week, just in and out. One Wednesday, then gone the next. One Wednesday, and so I originally made the call, and he was curious and asked all the right questions, but just as real as Steve can be. If anybody knows him, that's the one kind of thing that you have to drill down onto. This dude's real. He's and in our business, as you know, Shaquille, it's a part of what we do. We are actors and actresses and in the hustle game, and it's just kind of the DNA of professional wrestling. It's what's going to happen next. And he asked all the questions, and somewhere in his heartstrings, that kind of being sentimental tugged on him, and he knew that he got his start from Jerry Jarrett, and he said, "Hey Jeff, I'm going to give this a shot." So I said, "Look, this isn't a long-term deal," and we did a one show at a time basis on those first couple. And he came in, and at one point he got to team with Lex, and I know that was an emotional tie that he wanted to do. So in those early days, Sting was just kind of trying us out, and I'm forever grateful that he did, because as TNA rolled along, having him a part of the Rolodex, not just in the ring, but licensing and international deals. When you have Sting as a part of your roster, it goes a long, long way.
For me, I've been watching pro wrestling since I was 4, but sometimes that fandom, dips and it peaks. And sort of the mid to late 2000s of TNA Impact was very instrumental in sort of re-engaging me in professional wrestling. And that was a time where Sting, what was it, I think late 2005, December is when he sort of teased his return, 2006, January return. What went into reintroducing Sting on a long-term basis with TNA?
A lot of listening to him. He's again, when you kind of look at his career, specifically when I worked with him, and whether it's the WCW, Sting always really stayed true to his character. And so Sting coming back at this stage of his career, and it's funny, we're talking now in 2024, because when we signed Sting to TNA, the full-time basis was a one-year deal, a consecutive one-year deals all the way up till 2013. That's where his headspace was at. But again, a larger-than-life character and personality, and we wanted to showcase Sting, like I said, both inside and outside the ring. But lessons that I learned from my father and other promoters: if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel on this. Let Sting be Sting, and that's really what we did.
How valuable was it and integral was it for TNA to have Sting at that point? Because it's so rare to find a character, like you mentioned, that can endure as long as Sting has.
Um, it's hard to really put into words, because I would say this in boardrooms. Literally, you're kind of taking me back to meetings, whether it's licensing international. It's an intangible. You cannot quantify the value. In a lot of ways, had we not got Sting, would we have got Kurt Angle? Would we have got other stars? Sting validated a young upstart product simply by being one of the faces of it. We did that match in '06 that to this day, it's the top 2 or 3 buy rate. The statistics, but for its time, it set records for us and stood the test of time. And Sting wanted to do something special. I was putting up my title against his career. If he didn't win, he was going to retire. But he went away for about 2 months, 3 months, and got in to me, maybe the best shape of his life. He came back shredded, but he really stayed focused. And when licensees, when television partners, but probably most important, when the locker room sees a guy like Sting buy in to the product, dig into the product, it cuts away all the excuses. Okay, if this guy's doing it, he don't need the money, he don't need the fame. He's been at the very pinnacle of this industry. He could be home. All those boxes that Sting has checked that he didn't have to do. It just kind of completely validated us as a brand in so many ways. And that's why I'll be forever grateful, not just to Steve Borden, but to Sting, the character, on how valuable he really, really was for our product.
You mentioned how intangible it is for a character like Sting to come through and to stick around the way it has. But his longevity as an in-ring performer is also remarkable. I mean, you're quite a bit younger than him, but you've been in this game long enough and you're in such great shape that you probably know how much work it takes to still be able to do this at a high level. How blown away are you that Sting has been able to put in the kind of performances he has as he approaches age 65?
It all to me, we're both basketball players, so I like to knock on wood and kind of give the kudos to the hops in basketball. But no, look, from a physical point of view, look, we both had our ups and downs in our career, but Sting has always been a guy who stays in the gym, and I think at the end of the day, it's between the ears. His mindset to say, I am not going to rest on yesterday's accolades from a performance standpoint. The whole world knows he's 60 something years old. He could kind of cruise or coast. His mindset won't allow it. So the competitive nature that he does bring to the product. And I'm talking about every show he's on. You just kind of have to know, okay, that, he's going to take his game to the next level. I better do the same. I can't, I can't kind of rest on, nobody can. So my hat's off to him that for so many reasons, but you kind of look at the TNA era, and then from there, a little break, but he had we'll call it the WWE run, and it just didn't end on terms that he was happy with. And so the door opening at AEW and the relationship that he's come in and formed with so many. I just think it's so fitting that I've never heard or seen, and I'm a pretty much student of the game. I've never seen a guy be able to go out on his terms under these circumstances with this longevity and really his going out on a very, very high skill level. It just doesn't happen.
Do you have any insight that you could share into how Sting felt about his WWE run?
Not other than the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously some private conversations, but it's no secret that, I'm sure Sting would say he's grateful for his opportunity there, but that it kind of ended off the radar without, there's no secret of that. I mean, his contract lapsed, and that was it. So very no ceremonies. He certainly didn't have a last match, and that's why I'm so happy that he came in and he's been here for the run. And again, it's untarnished, it's unblemished. It's Michael Jordan going out and winning on. Jordan could have walked off when he beat Utah, and that would have been his last shot ever. But he ended with the Wizards. If Tom Brady, these legendary, iconic performers, only in professional wrestling do you get to see a guy like Sting literally walk off into the sunset under his terms.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's so much more appropriate for the Sting ethos and the Sting mythos to end in a place like AEW versus WWE. There are so many veterans backstage at AEW that talent can turn to for advice. Yourself, Sting, Paul White, Mark Henry, the list goes on and on. Is there a role you could see Sting sort of growing into once the in-ring stuff wraps up?
That is can only truly be answered by one person, and that's Stinger. um, I think Sting has led by example. His body of work, I call it his legacy, will live on forever. It's up to him if he wants to be a part of it from a fringe. I'm sure the door would be open. But only he could answer that. But I think it is something that when a senior graduates on a college team and goes on to the pros, don't don't think for a second that coach doesn't reference that senior leadership that he's now missing. And he points to the guy who's in the big leagues. I think AEW locker room will forever have the opportunity and the ability to point at Sting and say, this is how he did it when he was here. That to me is invaluable.
As we wrap up here, for those who maybe missed a lot of Sting's career, kind of younger or newer to the product, in your own words, can you sort of summarize what Sting's career means to you?
You know, I've said this often in different posts, or if you know me well enough, you've heard it come out of my mouth a lot. I don't believe in coincidences, only convergences. And when you really look at the longevity of Sting's career, Surfer Boy Sting really broke onto the national scene in Greensboro, for the opportunity to come full circle to end his career back in Greensboro, and a guy that no matter who he worked with, Sting made his opponent better. It's just that simple. If you're in the ring with Sting, you got the opportunity to rise to his level. And so that is something that, I'll call him a legendary, iconic babyface, good guy. He's never really crossed the fence. TNA, main event mafia, he still stayed true to Sting. Crow Sting, he still stayed true to, Joker Sting, every iteration of Sting, he stayed true to himself. So I think the one common thread from the day he stepped foot on the scene in Greensboro until he walks off into the sunset, I use this term not so loosely in this, but in the professional wrestling business, Sting is as real as it gets. And I think that is something that is an enormous part of his legacy. What you see is what you get. Sting's real.
Since I see we have like a couple minutes left, I would like to ask you one unrelated Sting question, just because it's timely, and then just finish up some rapid fire, if that's okay, Jeff.
Right on, brother.
All right, let's do it. First, I am curious if there's anything you can share about Jeff Hardy's condition. You know, he took a nasty spell in that Sammy Guevara match.
No idea.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Rapid fire time. You are the owner of an iconic weapon. So what I have for you is some matchups of pro wrestlers and their iconic weapons, and I just want quick answers for you on which one you like better, okay? Or you deem more legendary.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
We're going to start on brand. Sting's baseball bat versus Triple H's sledgehammer.
Baseball bat.
Okay. Mick Foley's barbed wire bat or Mankind's sock?
I got to go with Sacco. I got to go with Sacco. It's got maybe the most charisma of any weapon that goes.
Inanimate object in WWE or pro wrestling.
Yes,
I like it.
I'm a charisma guy, so I'll go with Sacco.
All right. Jeff Jarrett's guitar or Honky Tonk Man's guitar?
Oh, come on, Shaquille. Double J's guitar. I don't think Honky Tonk Man's guitar has that Moolah or Gary Coleman or Beetlejuice or Paul Walterhauser. I mean, I got the hits, my friend.
Is that how you deem the legacy of your guitar, is by the celebrities that it's crushed over the head?
I mean,
I like it.
Look, how else can you qualify? Not qualify. How can you qualify the better of the two?
Okay, I like it. The Dudley Boys tables, the Hardy Boys ladders, or Edge and Christian's chairs?
That's a good one, man. I didn't realize we can. The concerto is something that is it kind of signifies. Lots of folks use tables and 3D or Dudleys, whatever you want to call them, and the ladders. Look, there's a number of performers, but when you think of concerto, you really just think of Edge and Christian.
Al Snow's head or Bray Wyatt's lantern with his head on it?
That's good. I mean, the sentimental favorite, you got to go with the lantern, but head, that's another charismatic gimmick.
For your money. All right, a couple more. Sandman's cane or Jim Duggan's 2x4?
2x4. Oh, I love the stories of Jim back in the day when he didn't. He would get somebody in the building. Hey, can you go saw a 2x4 for me? Anyway, Two before.
Last one. Bob Orton's cast or William Regal's brass knuckles?
You know, I have to say I have somewhat of a I was a kid, or
Mhm.
the Orton cast. Legitimately, I'm just like, this ain't fair. I was borderline like, I love the gimmick. I absolutely love the gimmick. So I'll go cast.
All right, Jeff, thank you for running through that gauntlet. I'm glad I got to make you laugh a couple times. I want to leave you
Yes.
with the last word, so I'll do my part very quick. Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. Please subscribe, thumbs up, tap the bell, all that good stuff. Let us know in the comments, what do you think is the greatest signature weapon of a pro wrestler, as well as your favorite Sting moment. Also, which celebrity should Jeff hit in the head with a guitar next time? Lots of questions for you today. Check out the full feature, cbssports.com, in the description of this video. Jeff, if there's anything you want to tell the people, the floor is yours, man.
Oh no, Shaq. I appreciate you having me on. Let's not let it be so long. Check me out on all my socials at real Jeff Jarrett. That's RealJeffJarrett at real Jeff Jarrett.